Hey, what's up? It's me, Jessica J, and I was just wondering if you've ever sat and thought to yourself, what kind of questions can I ask these women to make them want me? Well, if so, I'm glad you asked, because today I'm going to go over something that you should definitely get a pen and paper for, and to make sure you never miss out on any more shortcuts to getting women to want you or getting your conversations flowing and more connected. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button somewhere on my channel with the notification bell. Okay, so a lot of times guys will write in and ask me how to talk about things that we women want to talk about, or what conversation topics or hot topics to get us hot. And the reality is we women don't care about topics. We don't want to talk about things. Like, you guys could talk about things all the live long day. You could talk about sports, you could talk about shows, you could talk about stocks, you could talk about games and pussy. But we women don't thrive off of conversation topics so much as we thrive off of the feeling we get in a conversation with you. And what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to give you guys 10 questions that are meant to elicit a deeper understanding of who this woman is, and also questions that make us feel like you want to get to know us better, like you are interested in who we are as a person and what makes us separate for any other woman out there that you could be talking to. So these questions are questions that they drilled into us as therapists, and they're meant to bring out, again, a deeper understanding of who this woman is. And the more a woman feels deeper understood by you, the deeper she's gonna let you into her vagina. Because you talking to us like you actually wanna know who we are on the inside is what makes us want to have you inside. Because again, like I said in my last video, y'all have sex to feel connected, and we women want sex when we feel connected to you. Again, make sure you write all these down, have them in hand for you. All of them are open-ended questions. None of them elicit one-word response, and none of them are yes or no questions. So number one is, what was that like for you? I'm guessing that this woman is not a carbon copy of who you are and who you were growing up. So if she says anything about herself that is different from you or what you've experienced or what you experience on a day-to-day basis, ask her, wow, what was that like for you? Again, it's about getting a deeper understanding of who we are and what our experiences are different from any other person on the planet. So if she says something like, I grew up on the Jersey Shore, or even, I go into work every day and hate myself, something as simple as, what was that like for you, or what's that like for you, is going to make her feel better understood and even more so wanted by you. And again, your feelings are contagious. If we feel wanted and understood by you, we are going to want to understand you and want you more. Number two is, what's going on for you right now? So I always talk about this idea of being personal and being relevant in order to create connections with women. So if you're sitting there in a conversation and you notice she smirks a little bit when she tells you a story, or you notice that she pauses and sits in silence, being able to be there in the moment with her and say, hey, what's going on for you right now? I noticed that you smiled when you said this, or I noticed that you're fidgeting a little bit as you tell me this story. Being able to say what is going on for you right now is going to tether you together to one another in the moment and make her feel that much more validated and seen and wanted in that moment. It's also going to keep you from going into your head and thinking, what do I say now? Oh my God, I don't fucking know. I'm just going to jerk off in my head by myself. Again, it's going to force you into that moment. So asking what's going on for you right now is always a good one to keep you grounded. The third one is going a little bit off of what's going on for you right now. It's, I noticed you did this. What's that about? Again, this is about catering to her and showing that you are invested in her in this moment. So if you saw that, you know, she laughed a little bit when she started talking about, like, oh my God, this one time in college, oh my God. If you say something like, oh my God, I noticed your voice like really inflected when you talked about college, what was that about? Again, it's about seeing us for who we are in that moment. And that is going to make us feel so much more connected. And in that feeling so much more connected and feeling caught, so to speak, we're going to feel like you see us for who we are aside from anybody else, and therefore, again, make us want to whop all over your penis. Number 4 is something that in psychology, we talk about this idea of mirroring people's language, mirroring their gestures to make them feel comfortable, because we feel comfortable with people who we see as similar to us. So the 4th question is, so what I'm hearing you say is this. Is that right? So if you sit there and say to her, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that every time you go to the beach, you have a panic attack because you're scared of crab pinchers. Is that correct? Again, going back to seeing us in that moment, really hearing us in that moment and being with us in that moment. That's gonna make us feel like you actually want to be there with us in that moment, and that you're really listening to whatever the fuck it is we're saying, no matter how crazy it is. Okay, number 5 is really interesting because sometimes it's hard to ask this question. However, it's really important to show that you are listening to what she's saying, that you really do care about her in that moment. And it's, how have you really been? So maybe you know that she's got a new project at work, or she's got a lot going on with the family, or maybe the pandemic has been really quite hard on her. And we as a society, especially in America, we're very ingrained to put up these niceties of, oh, hi, how are you? I'm good, how are you? But are we really fucking good? Let's be real. So if you ask her the casual nicety, hey, how have you been? And she's like, I've been good, how about you? To slow down and bring it back to, no, how have you really been? I understand that you're going through this. Talk to me. What's really going on? Again, it's gonna make us women go like, oh my God, he really fucking cares. Let me care with his cock in my mouth right now. So just extend the how are you to a really more understanding, caring, and valuing how have you really been, girl. Okay, number 6 is, again, more exploratory and also showing that you are, in that moment, actually listening to the shit coming out of our mouths, which is, how'd you manage to do that? So a lot of times, again, we are so inclined to listen to what people are saying and nod like, oh, cool, oh yeah, all right, okay, cool, awesome, awesome. But how many times when you're saying stuff like this are people like, wow, that's crazy. How'd you do that? Like literally, I would never be able to do that. How'd you do that? Again, that shows an appreciation for what she's actually saying. It shows you actually listening to what she's saying. And what you're doing is you're actually connecting yourself to her when you say, I would like to know how you did that because I can't imagine doing that. So for instance, maybe she cured cancer or male pattern baldness or managed to run for 10 miles without dying like I would. Saying something like, oh my God, that's really cool. How'd you manage to do that? That's so awesome. Again, goes back to giving that verbal appreciation and exploring even further. Which again is what would make us women want to feel in order to let you explore our vagines. Number 7 is going back to not letting her give all these niceties too easily. So many times like, oh, my day was good. Or even, oh, you know, it sucks, but whatever. Saying something like number 7, which is, what about that is good? Bad, sucks. What about that is any adjective here. Again, going back to exploring and making us feel valued. If she says something like, oh yeah, my day was good, how about you? Again, don't let her get away with it. Show her that you're not that kind of man who's gonna let her brush past who she is because you, my dear, really wanna know who she is. So ask, well, what about your day was good? Again, it shows women that you're okay taking the lead and you're okay having actual conversations versus the small talk exchanges that don't create connection or attraction or arousal whatsoever. Number 8 is a very therapist-y thing for us to tell people in relationships, which is, what do you need from me? Or even, how can I? Again, it's so... We're not taught how to communicate with one another. And we're also not taught how to communicate with our partners in regards to getting our needs met. And women, you know, you probably heard this from time and time again, how when women will be like, no, it's fine, I'm fine, it's fine, no, I'm fine, nothing's wrong, I'm fine. Because people have the very common misconception that I shouldn't have to tell you, you should just know. Which couldn't be further from the fucking truth. Grow up. If you want something, you should say it. However, because we are not conditioned to be okay with telling people what we want from them, if you extend the verbal, hey, what can I do? Or even, hey, what do you need from me? That's going to take all the pressure off of us in thinking that we're not allowed to ask you for what we want and we're not allowed to say what we need. So letting her know that you're man enough to ask her what she needs and be okay with it is going to show us that you're man enough to take in a pound down. Number 9 is something I drill into you all the live long day in this channel, which is how about you? Again, you know, she's not going to be doing all the talking here. I'm assuming you're sitting here opening up about yourself, telling her about what's going on for you, answering these questions in your own mind for her without asking, but putting it back on her to be like, well, how about you? How have you been since you moved out here? Or even, how about you? We talked enough about me. I want to know about you now. Is going to go a long way in showing us that you want that connection and that you're not just going to sit here and be all about yourself. You actually care to know what's going on for us and you care to connect with us as well. And number 10, there's so many memes about it. Women complain about it all the time. All my girlfriends who are going through divorces right now complain that they never hear this question, which is, how was your day? It's so fucking simple. There's even songs written about, he even asked how my day was. Oh my God. I promise you, we women are that simple that if this is the only fucking question you ever ask us in your life, we will perform like a porn star on your penis every day. Because it's so simple in letting us know that you give a shit about us and what we're going through in our lives. So those are the 10 questions. Rewind this as much as you can. They're written out simply so that you could jot them down and use them to your advantage to get women wanting you in ways that you may have not have even experienced before, because maybe you didn't know that these questions in and of themselves are enough to build that connection and to build engagement and to get us chasing you down into Bound Bound. And for more ways to create stronger connections, as usual, don't forget to check out my Speak to Spark Arousal program. All 10 of these questions are featured in there, along other ways to start conversations with women in public and get out of the friend zone if you found yourself in there accidentally. So write these 10 things down. Speak to Spark Arousal. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.